In this chapter, we're diving deeper into how to communicate insights. First up is a tool you know already, visualizations. Visualization is a powerful tool. It helps us understand complex data at a glance and makes it easier to understand the insights we've previously identified in our data. Many data tools and methods rely on visualizations to convey their message, like exploratory data analysis, dashboards, or infographics. An infographic is a visual, condensed summary of a topic intended to present information quickly and clearly, like the infographic about infographics on the slide. There are several types of visualizations, but which one you need comes down to the point you're trying to get across. We'll discuss some of the common types. If you want to capture a trend, particularly over time, a line chart is the most straightforward way. For visualizing relationships, use a bar chart to compare categories, or a scatter plot to show the relationship between two variables. If you want to visualize the distribution, a histogram or a box plot are the best choices. If you would like to know more about the different types of visualizations, check out the link to Datacamp's data visualization cheat sheet. What do you need to keep in mind when creating visualizations? A first important tip is to ensure that the visualization is as clear and readable as possible by providing the correct labels and avoiding things like 3D effects, excessive use of color, or double axes, which make it harder to read the graph correctly. To help your audience, you also need to focus their attention on the key aspects of the visualization. Do this by linking the visualizations to the key insights and highlighting key elements. Even though you're already communicating by showing a visual, you still need to explain this to your audience and provide context. A technique to help you with this is the McCandless technique. The McCandless technique is a set of 5 steps that can help you explain a visual. The first step is to introduce the visualization by name. The second step is to anticipate possible questions. For example, on which data the visualization is based. The third step is to state the insight the visual is trying to convey. For example, the introduction of our new policy in 2007 has ensured that average length of hospital stay is steadily decreasing in our hospital and is getting closer to the national average. The fourth step is to provide supporting evidence to our central insight or provide additional background if necessary. The fifth and final step is the closing statement. This is the time to explain why this matters and to make the transition to the next point. Time to put your knowledge about visualizations into practice. To take your communication to the next level, you need to tell a story. It might seem counterintuitive to tell a story, as it seems the opposite of just stating the facts. However, storytelling should be seen as a delivery mechanism for sharing insights and ideas in a more memorable and persuasive way than just pure facts. Using storytelling provides the following benefits. It makes your key points more memorable. It allows you to keep the attention and engagement of your audience. It helps you convince your audience of your message. And finally, it motivates them to take action. What does it take to make a data story? There are 3 parts: the data, the narrative, and the visualizations. The data is the foundation of our story. It provides the key insights we wish to communicate. The role of the visualizations is to support our key insights by showing them in a clear way. The narrative provides structure to the whole. It gives us the right sequence to tell the story, from problem over insights to our conclusions and recommendations. Every story has characters, a problem, a setting, a plot, and a resolution. We can link these different elements to the core elements of our own data communication. The characters become the stakeholders. The problem is the business problem. The setting is the relevant background needed to understand the problem. The plot consists of the central and supporting insights, and the resolution is equivalent to the solution and recommendations we propose at the end. How do we put all of these things together? This is where narrative structure comes in. First, the problem is introduced. This problem is supported by the necessary background to understand the problem. The problem is framed so that it acts as a hook. For example, by stating it as a question that will be resolved by the end. The supporting insights then lead up to the central insight. This acts as a sort of aha moment. Finally, the story's ending consists of the proposed solution and recommendations for the next steps. Let's make this more practical with an example. Suppose you're working for an airline company. Customer satisfaction is in decline. Why? This is our problem. The why question can act as a hook. We can give some more relevant background depending on what our audience needs to know. Now, we build up some supporting insights. The number of supporting insights you need is case specific, but a good rule of thumb is to use no more than 3 to avoid overwhelming your audience. In our example, the satisfaction decrease is evident mainly in the summer months. When analyzing the complaints in those months, we notice that the highest number of complaints relate to problems with the air conditioning. This leads us to the central insight. The dissatisfaction is mostly related to the aircon not working correctly. Although the central insights come after the supporting insights in the narrative structure, it is best to think about the central insight first when crafting your story, so you know which supporting insights you need. Finally, we end our story with a proposed solution and recommendations. In this case, the hiring of 2 more technicians to fix problems more quickly. Time to craft your own stories. Enjoy! In the previous videos, we learned about 2 important tools for communicating insights from data, visualizations and storytelling. In this lesson, it is time to learn about the 3 keys to communicating effectively. The 3 keys to communicating effectively are focus, structure, and form. Focus keeps your communication relevant, to the point, and meaningful to the audience. The structure acts as a guide for your audience and increases understandability. And finally, form ensures that your communication is tailored to its purpose and audience. Focus is essential to keep your communication relevant. You need to select the right data by including enough context to support your story without overloading your audience with information. In the same way, you should select the right visualizations by linking them to your key insights. Finally, keeping your central message in mind and reinforcing it throughout your communication is vital. A central message describes what you want your audience to remember in a few sentences. It consists of 3 parts: a description of the problem, a summary of the main insights, and the impact, typically a recommendation or next steps based on the insights. An example central message could be as follows. The average math score of students at University A has declined over the last 3 years. The data indicates that more students enroll with a weaker starting knowledge of mathematics. By organizing math summer schools, University A can help students better prepare for the expected knowledge level of mathematics. The structure gives your audience a common thread to follow and increases understandability. Use structuring techniques like the narrative structure from the storytelling technique to keep your audience engaged, and use the McCandless technique for explaining visualizations. Also, provide visual structure. Keep a clean layout and consider where to place text, visualizations, and tables. Finally, prepare an outline in advance and use this as a blueprint you can keep referring to while crafting your report or presentation. A basic outline falls into 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusions. The introduction is the part where you introduce the data problem statement, context, and objectives. The body is the right place to talk or write about the data that was used, the analysis that was conducted, and the key findings. Finally, the conclusions contain the main insights from the key findings and the recommendations to act on those insights. The form ensures that your communication is tailored to its purpose and audience. When deciding on the form of our communication, we need to think about the following. Medium, should we opt for the oral or written communication? Language, should we include technical details or avoid being too technical? Scope, should we opt for a short or a long form piece? Short form focuses on the essentials in about 5 minutes or 5 pages, while long form allows to include more details and context. The answers to these questions largely depend on the purpose of your communication and on what the audience needs from your communication. To choose the appropriate form, ask yourself the following questions about your audience. Who are they? What do they need to know? And what do they want? Returning to our university example, imagine we need to present our findings to the university board. They are non-technical managers, need to know the key findings, and want specific recommendations. In that case, a non-technical, short-form presentation would be best. Now that you know all the 3 keys to communicate effectively, let's practice. In this final video, we're going to put what you've learned into practice with an example case study. The problem we're dealing with, in this case, is a recent increase in customer churn or customers leaving a company. We're trying to find out why, so we can make recommendations to counter this increase. We've analyzed customer churn rate over time and its characteristics. Our next task is preparing a presentation for higher management. To start, we'll work out our central message. Why do we compose the central message first? Because it is the center of our presentation, and the other building blocks, the narrative structure and visualization, depend upon it. As before, our central message consists of three components: the problem, the increasing churn rate, our main insights, namely that the increased churn rate is related to dissatisfaction with customer service, and the impact, our specific recommendations to tackle the problem. Now that we've drafted our central message, we're going to set up the structure of our presentation using a narrative structure. Notice how we use the parts of our central message here and expand upon it. The problem is our opening, the insights from the middle, and we end with the impact. We can show some supporting insights on our way to the central insight. For example, we could show that customer satisfaction has decreased and that most complaints are about customer service. To support these points, we make use of visualizations. Now that we have prepared our central message and narrative structure, we can start thinking about which visualizations to use to support the points we want to make. We can start by visualizing our problem with the help of a line plot, showing the churn rate over time. Next, we show off some of the insights we gained through our analysis. For example, one of our insights could be supported by a line plot showing customer satisfaction rate versus time. A second insight could be supported by a bar plot showing count of complaints by category. These plots can be the result of our exploratory data analysis or related to the main analysis. For example, if we conducted a predictive analysis, we could show a plot of predictive power per variable to visualize the influence of each variable on the prediction results. That's it for me. Have fun with your case study. Well done! You have successfully reached the end of the course. Let's review everything you've learned in this course to see how far you've come. In Chapter 1, you've learned what it means to be data literate, why data literacy is an important life skill, how to get from data to insights, and data-driven decision-making. In Chapter 2, you've learned where to find data, distinguish different data types, manage data, and handle common data problems. In Chapter 3, you've learned about the 4 types of analytics and how to choose the right type of analytics for your question or business problem. Finally, in Chapter 4, you've learned how to use visualizations and storytelling and the 3 keys to communicating effectively. Your data journey has only just begun, and if you don't know where to go next, take a look at these recommended courses. Congratulations again, and thank you for your time and effort dedicated to this course. Good luck with all your future data endeavors.